Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. Today I've got some exciting news to share about the progression systems in Battlefield 6. I know this has been a bit of a pain point for much of the community. DICE have done some really good changes there. They've just put out a blog post today, so as usual we're going to read through that together, get into all of the juicy details. But not only that, also they have reverted all of the changes they made to the Conquest ticket counts, which I know most people weren't a fan of either. So as always, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button to stay up to date with everything Battlefield. And as always, thank you guys so much for your support. Alright, so first of all, let's just jump straight into this article here. And it's called Battlefield 6 Community Update, Player Progression and Portal Servers. So they say, hello everyone. It's been an exciting first week for Battlefield 6, and we're thrilled to have you with us as we embark on this journey together. We've been closely listening to your feedback and wanted to take a moment to address some of the initial concerns on progression and community experiences that we've seen from players around the world. So, progression and XP adjustments. We've heard your feedback around the pace of progression, especially how long it can take to unlock hardware such as gadgets and weapon attachments. We know progression is an important part of feeling rewarded for your time on the battlefield. So as initial steps, we are working on the following changes to progression and how it feels as you play. So first up here, the XP gain from match completion and the daily bonus are being increased by 10% and 40% respectively. So that means every time you complete a match, you're going to be getting 10% more experience from the whole match, I guess, and then 40% from the daily bonus, which I believe is just like the first match that you play. The XP needed to unlock the first 20 attachment ranks is being reduced as well, so you'll start earning useful attachments almost twice as fast. Please note, for weapons that are already being progressed, the UI might display something abnormal at first, and this should resolve itself once a match is played while using that weapon. And then the assignments that required career ranks 20, 23 and 26 to begin will now require career ranks 10, 15 and 20 respectively. So for some of the assignments in the game you needed to meet a certain rank. That's still going to be the case, but they brought them down there just a little bit. While this allows these assignments to be started sooner, we are aware of the frustrations regarding the challenges themselves and are actively working on reviewing them, but it will take more time to develop, test, and implement these changes. Our goals here are to make the progression experience feel smoother and more rewarding, while still keeping that sense of achievement when you complete a milestone like fully mastering a weapon. So I think the problem with the progression system at the moment, for myself and a lot of other players too, is that the game is kind of shoehorning you into playing certain ways. So it's saying, hey, you've got to play, X class with Y weapon on Z map or mode that you maybe don't necessarily want to. And whenever I talk about this, that I don't really like the progression in Battlefield 6, I usually get a lot of comments of people saying, well, we don't want the progression to be lightning fast because then people would unlock everything in a very small amount of time and there would be no content left in the game. I'm not saying that at all. I don't mind grinding for weapons per se. My problem with it is they're dictating the way in which I play and enjoy the game. For me, as a, let's call me a Battlefield veteran, I don't really like the term, but whatever. I just like to play Conquest on big maps with all the vehicles and everything. And so whenever I get basically told I need to play King of the Hill, I need to play TDM, whatever it may be, and if I don't, not only am I missing out on large amounts of experience, but sometimes I'm also missing out on literal weapons or gadgets that are available for the classes. Well, I can't skip it at that point. It's not FOMO anymore. I have to do that. And I think it's that part that I'm just not really a fan of. Anyway, let's continue reading here. So this next bit is about community experiences, aka Portal, and I'm sure you guys have noticed that as of late, a lot of Portal farming servers against bots have started to crop up. So over the past week, many of you noticed that we reached maximum capacity on community servers. After reviewing the data, we found that a large number of these servers were created primarily to earn XP, inflate player stats, and earn special accolades through defeating bots. We completely understand the motivation behind this, like faster progression and a way to test setups without pressure, but it's led to some unintended side effects. With so many servers focused on farming XP rather than active play, it's become noticeably hard for players to create and find experiences to play with other people. The experiences in the community section is a key part of what makes Battlefield 6 special. It's meant to be a space for creativity, experimentation, and connection. where you can easily find and enjoy great modes with your friends and squad mates. Our goal moving forward here is to reinforce the player-driven experiences that bring people together while still keeping room for custom setups, creativity, and new ideas. We are developing adjustments that are intended to diminish the number of XP farms taking up server space while further emphasizing playing with friends on both custom and verified experiences. Implementing this will require some maintenance on the back end. After the update is live, we expect all experiences, both custom and verified, will need to be republished by players before they can create an active server. Whether that's hardcore conquest, all-out warfare, longer matches, or your favorite community-created experience, we want you to be able to find and enjoy it easily with your friends as you play your way together. So what they're saying here is that if you've had an experience and you put in that code, and normally that experience will pop up and you can then either host or browse for a server, those experiences, those codes will no longer work until the creator of that experience has gone in and republished it again. Now, they did touch on this here, saying like they completely understand why people are doing this. I think it's really, really important to remember that the reason people are booting up these servers and playing against bots is because a lot of these assignments are like almost impossible to do in regular games. I can't remember too many off the top of my head, but like a lot of them have to be accomplished within a round. Like you had to score 30 headshots in a round, or you've got to suppress something like 100 plus enemies in a round. And so if you get a slightly unlucky round, or maybe you just keep dying all the time, or the round ends prematurely, that means that you have to start that assignment from the beginning again. And that's why people just prefer to go into a match against AI, against bots, where it's not going to be as unpredictable and you have a little bit more control there, and just get it done, just grind it out. I completely understand why people are doing this. I don't think it's a good thing, don't get me wrong. I think, you know, portals should be there for proper experiences, you know, player versus player, and maybe not so much on the PvE side. But that being said, playing against bots is a perfectly legit way to play Battlefield 6. If people want to do that, I think they should be able to, and there's no rules really saying that they aren't allowed. In my mind, the real fix for this is for DICE just to come in and basically change the assignments so they're not too insane. So you don't feel like you have to play and accomplish it against bots. I think that will really rectify the problem a lot. Not only that, but they should also just increase server capacity, because what they've promised us is that each and every one of us will be able to create a persistent experience, a persistent server. That's clearly not the case, right? Because they have limited server capacity, and at the moment, most of us can't create servers. So maybe they also need to increase that. Now, continuing on here, they say more updates coming as well. We are targeting these updates to go live within the next week, potentially sooner, depending on testing and verification. We'll provide updates on x.com/battlefieldcom, which is the account we're reading from here, as these changes are deployed, and we'll be closely monitoring to ensure server stability is maintained as everyone jumps in to enjoy their favorite modes. We've also seen your concerns on other areas of the game, including visibility, weapon bloom, vehicles not spawning, and more. We'll share more details on these as updates are determined. Please continue sharing your thoughts on your platform of choice, as your feedback is helping us shape Battlefield 6 into the best experience it can be. This is just the start. As we prepare to go into Season 1, which is coming out on the 28th of October, you can expect more adjustments as we continue fine-tuning gameplay, progression, and the experience based on your input. Thank you for being part of this community, and we'll see you out there on the battlefield. So I think they're doing a really good job here reacting to the problems in Battlefield 6 very, very quickly. It's been about a week, right? Yeah, it's Friday today, so it's been in fact exactly a week since the game came out here. And this is a stark contrast to the way things worked in Battlefield 2042, where we had to wait. It felt like months and months. There was like months of radio silence. Of course, that game just had so many problems. Luckily, Battlefield 6 does not have anywhere near as many problems, and DICE is doing a really good job fixing those up here and addressing them, talking to the community, and I absolutely love to see this. And speaking of the Battlefield studios doing the right thing, some of you may have noticed a couple of days ago that they decided to nerf the ticket counts on Conquest. So basically, they decreased them by around 100 tickets for all of the maps in the game. And this was to increase the speed of the game, basically decrease the length of each round. So instead of just like getting rid of the timer or something, they decided to go to that route. To which the community said, you know, what the hell are you even thinking? This is not what we want at all. And guess what, guys? They've actually listened to us. So they just put this out today saying, we've heard your feedback about the recent reduction of Conquest starting tickets and will be reverting the ticket counts across all maps to their original launch value of 1,045-minute timed rounds. I'd still prefer they just remove the timer, but okay, we'll take it. Please note that on larger maps such as Mirak Valley and Firestorm, this change may lead to longer match durations. We'll continue monitoring player feedback and gameplay data to ensure the pacing and overall flow of matches feels right. So I kind of feel like the reason they probably implemented this in the first place is that they feel, like they say here, that certain matches like Mirak Valley, Operation Firestorm were going on a bit too long, and I think that a lot of the new players that they've gotten into the game here from other franchises, basically, they're not used to such long rounds. They're used to sort of, you know, quick 15, 20 minutes in, out. I would say that most Battlefield Conquest rounds, they last for around 20 minutes either way. And so in the case of Mirak Valley and Firestorm, maybe that wasn't the case, and that's why they made those changes there, but good to see that they are listening to what we want here. So the changes to experience, guys, those are live right now. They've done this via a backend fix to the game, so whilst they haven't managed to like address the assignments, because they're going to have to obviously look at those on an individual basis, right, and decide, okay, do we need to just tweak the values here? Maybe you need to get like too many headshots in a certain round here to make it actually doable. They're going to have to go through them with a fine-tooth comb. But those preliminary changes that they've done, like increasing the amount of experience you get per round, decreasing the ranks that you need to begin the assignments, all that sort of stuff, that is now live in the game, and you should have a little bit of an easier time, you know, unlocking the weapon attachments. As they said there, like the first 20 or so are going to be roughly like double the speed now. So that is certainly a welcome change. Like I said, really good to see that DICE are listening to us. Feel free to leave your thoughts on this below, by the way, guys. How do you find the progression in the game? Are you kind of like me and you just don't really like being told how to play the game? Like I said, I don't have any problem with the length of time it takes to unlock things, but I would just like to play the game the way I play it and still know that I'm unlocking and working towards things whilst doing it. On the other hand, I do understand DICE's objective with this, which is clearly to basically train the new people coming into Battlefield how you use the classes, how you use the different gadgets, how you use the vehicles, so they sort of naturally discover those things in the game. So let me know your thoughts on that. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like is massively appreciated, as is subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with everything Battlefield, and I'll see you all in the next one.